Hello, hello, hello. Am I live? I think I'm live. Looks like I am live. Here we go. Well. Hello, 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 and welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited to be here with you this evening. It is January 27th, 2026. I'm very happy to be here. I'm just going to go and check to see if I am live on YouTube at this moment of time, because that's where I'm streaming on. So bear with me. See if we are there. And yes, we are. We are there. How exciting. So I'm hopping in to say hi. I want to say hello to everybody. I have an amazing conversation to share with you this evening, and I'm hoping that you can hear me. I'm just going to do a test, test. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So I'm hopping in. There we go. Perfect, perfect. Love that. Anyway, today's topic is planets may activate menopause. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. I am the founder of Holistic Fitness and Why. I serve, help, and transform women over 40, helping them to release emotional weight without dieting, while holding space as they gain confidence and courage to step away from their 9 to 5 and embrace their soul's purpose. The W in holistic is all about the whole person that you are. You're your physical body, you're your thoughts, your emotions, you're your mental health, your spirit, and the soul. And all that being said, I'm super excited to be here with you this evening to share this topic. Planets may activate menopause. What does that actually mean? For those of you who've been following me on a regular basis, by now you know that 2026 is going to be an interesting year of energy. In fact, if you really think back to the beginning of 2025, we've experienced a lot of this energy in the beginning of 2025, where these planets shifted out of a zodiac sign and moved into a different zodiac sign. And for a very short period of time, we got to experience and taste what it's like for these planets to move forward. And the planets that I'm speaking about for tonight, there's a whole list of them. We will be speaking about Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, Jupiter, and the North and South nodes. That's a lot of planets. And if you think back to 2025, we've experienced these planets shifting from where they were into a temporary space within the first 7 months of 2025. Now, here we are, fast forward. As of 2026, January 26th, which was just yesterday, assuming you're watching this on the 27th, we experienced Neptune moving out of Pisces after 14 years. So if you think back to 2011 through 2025, through 2026, we experienced Neptune sitting in Pisces energy, helping us to tap into our psychic abilities, our intuition, our higher consciousness, and also what we would call the balance between the reality and our delusions. And that was much of what 2011 through 2025 was like with Neptune in Pisces. As of January 26, 2026, which was just yesterday, the portal energy of 2626, Neptune transit into Aries. Now, a little bit about Neptune, in case you're not familiar. Neptune is really about your spiritual evolution. It is about your dreams, your imagination, we'll use the word, your psychic awareness. And it's about the higher consciousness. It really is about what I like to call the crown energy, our memory, our ability to absorb, our ability to connect with the ego and the higher consciousness. So it's all this energy in the crown. And I want you to pay attention to it. I want you to be mindful of when I speak of the crown energy, when we speak of the chakra system, how you may find that not on a consistent basis, but here and there, off and on, you may find that you are experiencing some intense dreams in addition to some intense headaches because of Neptune's energy activating your higher consciousness and could very well be in the presence of your crown chakra. Now we think of it, Neptune entering Aries energy. Aries is fire. Aries is action. Aries is the leader. Aries is the boss. Aries is the war. Aries is the warrior. And we think about the war within ourselves. Every one of us experiences a war within ourselves, one way or another, just based on our daily choices and decisions. Excuse me, as I muted, so you wouldn't hear me coughing, as I am coming off of a cold. You don't want to own it. Anyways, as we think about Aries energy, we think about Neptune moving into Aries. What is this going to be like for every one of us on this planet, as we all do have Aries in our astrological makeup? Some of you may have Aries in your first house, excuse me, which is all about self. You may have Aries in your sixth house, which is about your nervous system, service, and your physical well-being. You may have Aries in your 10th house, which is your soul's purpose, your public affairs, success, fame, recognition, awards, everything that the public eye sees about you. You may have Aries in your 4th house, which is all about home, family, nurturing. So when we think about these energies, it's really important to pay attention to how this Neptunian energy is going to impact your life as Aries. And even more important, because Aries is a fire sign. And again, the whole topic that I'm going to be sharing with you this evening is about how our planets may very well activate menopause. So being mindful when we think about Neptune and Aries and this energy that we're in, Neptune entered Aries on January 26th of 2026 and will remain there until March of 2033. Very long time. Now, in addition to Neptune entering Aries, we have Saturn on February 13th, 2026, also entering into Aries until April 12th of 2028. When we talk about Saturn's energy, it is about the restructuring. It's about the rebuilding. It's about your foundation. And it's definitely about creating boundaries. Now, with both these two planets sitting in fire, again, when we speak about Aries energy, Aries is associated with the head and the belly. So we want to pay attention again, just as I said earlier, with Neptune being about your higher consciousness and tapping into your crown energy, that you may very well find yourself experiencing issues related to headaches, migraines, sinuses, pressure, And then, of course, belly discomfort, such as constipation, bloat, and even digestion issues. Now, how is this all related to menopause? As many of you may know who are experiencing perimenopause or menopause, the physical symptoms that show up in our bodies. Now, if you follow me on a regular basis, you know that I am an advocate of helping you to better understand the other side to the physical symptoms that may show up medically. Because every physical symptom has a metaphysical explanation. And being that we are going to be moving into many of our planets moving into fire energy, we may hear more women expressing their opinions, their feelings, and their symptoms of menopause. Now, one thing I know to be true is when we think about the word menopause, it's really about pausing your masculine energy of all the doing and allowing yourself to step into the receiving. And as we experience these many planets, starting off with Neptune and Saturn, helping us to shift the perspective of what other people may think about us and allow ourselves to pull off the mask and step into our transparency, our authenticity, and be who it is we are meant to be. Aries energy puts a huge focus on who am I? Why am I here? What legacy am I going to leave behind? So rightfully so, when we think about Aries energy, it may very well be a time and a place to start thinking about who am I? Why am I here? What legacy shall I leave behind? And through this energy of Neptunian being an Aries energy, this is really about the spiritual evolution. This is really the shift of all shifts that's happening. The fire that stems from our root chakra that literally sits in the tailbone energy. This fire may be activated to spiral upward, helping you to reconnect to your mother wisdom, giving you the opportunity to understand who you are from a soul level as you explore the energy of these planets. So again, as I just said, take a look at your astrological makeup to define where you have Aries on your chart. What house is Aries sitting in? Because that house that Aries is in, and that both Neptune and Saturn are transiting over, is going to create a lot of energy and a lot of heat. Now, it doesn't just stop there. Do note that whatever house that you do have both Neptune and Saturn in, perhaps you have Neptune sitting in the ninth house. Excuse me, Aries sitting in the ninth house. Ninth house is associated with Sagittarius. So we have more fire in addition to Aries energy. So understanding the concept of the houses as well. Each house represents a specific element. So just to name the fire elements, we have Aries, we have Leo, we have Sagittarius. The house placements to those elements. Aries is associated with the first house. Leo is associated with the fifth house. And Sagittarius is associated with the ninth house. Now, in addition to those house placements, we also have planets that rule Aries and those house placements. So when we think about Aries, and we're just going to stay focused on Aries for now so we do not have any additional confusion. Aries is ruled by Mars energy. Mars is about action. Mars is the decision maker. Mars is about putting one foot in front of the next to get things done. So it's really important to pay attention to, on a collective perspective, where is Mars and what planet, what zodiac sign is Mars in and transiting on your astrological makeup. So we're going to move forward from Aries energy, and I'm going to bring in other planets that's associated with fire. So we will also experience Jupiter transiting out of Cancer, which is water, and moving into Leo, which is fire. When we think about Leo, Leo is expansive. Leo is the expression that I love to use, go big or go home. Leo is full of drama. Leo is expressive. Leo is big. Leo is playful. Jupiter will enter Leo on July 30th of 2026, which means the other half of 2026, we will experience more fire. Now, I do want you to be mindful that Neptune will sit in Aries for the next 14 years. Saturn will only transit Aries for about 2.5 years. So by time we have Jupiter entering Leo's energy, Saturn will have left Aries energy. And that's something you want to note. Now we think about Jupiter's energy. Jupiter is expansive. Jupiter is about your spiritual growth, your spiritual evolution. It's good luck and good fortune. And when we think about Jupiter, many of us get really excited when we hear Jupiter being in our house or going through a Jupiter return. When we go through a Jupiter return, like any return, it just means that Jupiter is in your zodiac sign at the very time it was in when you were born. So when Jupiter sits in a zodiac sign, it expands the energy of that zodiac sign. So if there's any challenges that come up or are coming up in that placement, Jupiter is going to expand the energy of that challenge, and rightfully so, to help you move through and heal through whatever the challenges are. So to be mindful, yes, you can get excited about Jupiter moving into Leo, where it's going to be some expansive in conversations, it's going to be big, it's going to be powerful, it's going to be playful as well. But you may also notice that there are some challenges, maybe a little bit more full of drama than usual. However, the point here is to understand that when we think about these energies and how many of our planets are moving into fire energy, and how this responds to our physical body, how this responds to our physical symptoms, how this is associated with the fire within. After all, I would like to say, and hope that it's safe to say, that most women are looking to light the fire within to create the desires that we're looking to create as into our reality. Now, if for whatever the reason the fire has been out, or you've been dimming the fire within to fit into your community, that energy will no longer be tolerated. With Neptune sitting in Aries and Jupiter moving into Leo, it really is about pulling off the mask, showing up in the most massive way as possible, and allowing that fire to be lit so you can very well not just experience a spiritual awakening, but go through a spiritual purification, which will help you to purify what you no longer need. And then for many who are blessed enough to go through a Kundalini awakening, where that fire literally goes from the root into the sacral, moving up into the third eye, where you can gain the mother wisdom. So this energy that we're experiencing throughout 2026 is extremely potent and powerful, and even more essential in helping us to truly be authentic, transparent, and stepping fully into the soul's work that we came here to do. This is a perfect opportunity that if you find yourself at a crossroad, in a space of confusion, of not knowing what direction to go to when it comes to your career. Maybe you have been holding on to a 9-to-5 job and that you have a career as well, and you're really not sure which way you should go. This energy is going to nudge you. This energy is going to create irritability. This energy is going to create resistance. So if you find yourself becoming resistant, irritable, frustrated, short-tempered, or even angry, know that that's your soul's way of helping you to understand that that crossroad is that you're approaching is there for you to make a decision. It's there for you to become purposeful. It's there for you to take the mask off and step into your agreement to what you are here to fulfill. So as we process this energy, with all of our planets moving into fire, and I also want to bring to your attention that when we talk about the energies moving into fire, we will also have the South Node in Leo transiting as well. So we won't just have Jupiter transiting Leo, we will have the South Node transiting Leo as well. So by the second half of 2026, we will have Neptune, Jupiter, and the South Node sitting in fire energy. And also noting, and I really would like you to track where Mercury, Mars, and Venus are throughout that period of time, because they are going to be essential to this energy, because those 3 planets are the planets that move more frequently and play a bigger role in regards to the action that you're going to need to take when it comes to Neptune and Jupiter's energy, helping you to light the fire within. And understanding that no matter what zodiac sign Mars is in at that given time, Mars is the ruler of Aries. Mars is fire. So wherever Mars is traveling, transiting, in whatever zodiac sign over the first half of 2026, note that again, we will have Neptune and Saturn transiting that fire energy, along with Mars transiting that fire energy. So I do want to bring to the table awareness to our physical body to help you understand the narrative regarding all this energy, all the planets that are literally going to be lighting up the fire within you, and what this may feel like as we're processing this energy. And again, understanding the house that Neptune, Saturn, Jupiter, and even Mars are transiting at that moment of time. And as I mentioned earlier, the houses associated with fire are the first house, the 5th house, the 9th house are associated with fire. So it's not just the planets, and it's not just associated with our zodiac signs. It's very much associated with where and what house these planets are transiting that's activating fire within you. I'd also want to bring to the table additional information such as your sun, moon, and ascending sign. Should you happen to have your sun, moon, or ascending sign in fire energy, and that could be again Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, note that there's going to be additional energy being activated in your desire to light the fire. So just as much as we have all this energy to light the fire and get us excited and moving us in the direction we want to go in, we also have to be mindful that all this fire, specifically related to Aries, could show up as aggression, anger, anxiety, resentment, short temper, impatient. And I bring this to the table to help you be mindful of the energies that surround you. Perhaps while you're driving, maybe taking public transportation, shopping, that we're all carrying this energy within us. So it's so important to pay attention to the energy around you. And perhaps how you may get short-tempered, maybe you are moody, maybe you are reactive. And a lot of this is due to all the planetary energy that's literally lighting up the fire within you. Now, again, I want to bring back to the table the connection between the planets that are associated with fire and the energy of menopause. As commonly known, we hear about hot flashes, and hot flash is a big one because it causes women to get body temperature rises, and because we will experience this Jupiter Leo energy and Jupiter's expansion, and Jupiter is very much associated with the crown energy. This is about that explosiveness that may very well generate and be responsible for the dizziness, disorientation, the foggy mind, the confusion, and as I mentioned earlier, the headaches, the sinus pressure. All of this is related to the fire energies and the connection that these fire energies have with our physical body. When we think about Mercury, when Mercury moves into its fire sign, where we will experience that midway of March, when Mercury will be in Aries energy, Mercury being a air sign, yet Mercury rules the throat. So you may find, again, being that it will be in Aries, that you may find that you have this heat that shows up in the throat. You may find that your throat chakra gets very tender. You may find that your throat chakra gets inflamed due to that Mercury energy sitting in Aries. So we want to pay attention to that as well when that occurs. And as mentioned, that's mid-March, as we will experience Mercury in a retrograde in Pisces at some point. I'm just pulling up my calendar as I want to share some information with you regarding Mercury's energy as it is associated with the throat chakra. Because I would like to give you the date to when Mercury will actually sit in Aries energy. So bear with me as I look. because I would like you to walk away with that information. And do note that when we talk about Mercury, Mars, and Venus, they usually travel very close together. So when Mercury will enter Aries, we will most likely have Mars and Venus in Aries as well. And as I mention that, of course, just coming off topic for just a moment, Mars will enter Aries on April 9th. So make a little note of that. Mercury will enter Aries on April 14th. And I'm sure Venus is not far behind. Let's find out. I think Venus is actually earlier on. Much earlier on. Venus actually enters Aries on March 6th. So again, when we think about these energies, we think about these specific planets, whether they're the generational planets such as Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, Jupiter. Excuse me, Jupiter is not a generational planet. Pluto, those are generational planets. And what do I mean by a generational planet? It means that that planet stays in a certain zodiac sign for a long period of time, such as we're noticing Neptune sitting in Aries, which will be there for 14 years. Just left Pisces after 14 years. Pluto, which we're all familiar with, the planet of transformation, depth, completions, and endings, has entered Aquarius energy back in late of 2024. And we think of Saturn's energy again, even though Saturn sits in a zodiac sign for about 2.5 to 3 years, it's not necessarily a generational planet as much as it is a bridge planet. And a bridge planet just means, again, it's a shorter period of time that we get to experience Saturn, helping us to restructure. And when we think about Saturn, we should be thankful that Saturn only stays in a zodiac sign for 2.5 to 3 years, because it is about restructuring. It is about releasing what we no longer need. So it's really important to pay attention to these planetary shifts and getting a better understanding to what what part of the body each of these planets are associated with. And as they sit and transit in the zodiac signs as they do, what part of the body are those zodiac signs associated with? So it's extremely important to pay attention to these planetary shifts to better understand why you may very well be feeling the different symptoms you're feeling. And you may be pointing it at menopause, thinking that it's a relation to menopause, as opposed to just being a relation to how your body is responding to all this energy that we're experiencing. Now, I'm just going to run through very quickly all the zodiac signs and the body parts that it's related to, in addition to the planet in itself, because I think this is really helpful. And you can always come back later, take some notes. So we're going to start with Aries, which we already know is a fire sign, ruled by Mars, which is fire. It's associated with your head. So again, when we talk about the head energy, we are talking about overthinking, over processing. And it really is about the migraines, the pressure, the sinuses that's associated with the head in itself, and it's associated with your stomach. So if there was something out of alignment, if you're feeling a little in disarray, if you're not digesting your life experiences, you may very well experience stomach issues during this Neptunian and Saturn Aries energy. Very important to pay attention to that. We move into Taurus, which is associated and ruled by Venus energy. And Taurus rules the neck, the throat, your vocal cords, and your thyroid glands. So again, when we talk about the neck, we talk about the shoulders. Very common, frozen shoulder. So being that within the last 7, 8 years, we've had Uranus sitting in Taurus energy. And in just a few days, Uranus will go direct. I'm really hoping I'm going to be able to complete this. So when we think about Taurus energy, we think about the neck, which is very much associated with frozen shoulder. So anytime we have any of our planets, whether they're generational planets, ridges, or our closer planets, such as Mars, Venus, and Mercury, in Taurus energy, you may notice some energy that sits in frozen shoulder. When we talk about frozen shoulder, we are literally speaking about how we take on everyone else's problems and we carry the world on our shoulder. All right. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to finish this up. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Anyways, so we also have the throat chakra, which we already know about based on Mercury's energy, the vocal cords, and your thyroid gland. So if you do experience any thyroid issues, anytime again we have any of our planets sitting in Taurus energy, your thyroid gland may very well get inflamed. Moving on to Gemini's energy. Now, Gemini is going to be a big player, although it's not a fire sign, it is an air sign. Uranus will be moving out of Taurus, as mentioned, which was sitting in Earth, moving into Gemini, and that's going to be taking place on April 25th of 2026 and staying there until May of 2033. So another big player. And when we think about our air signs, just think about the air energy that sits in our head. It's about processing, it's about thinking, it's about evaluating, it's about researching, it's about overthinking as well. So our head may get overactive due to the fire and also the air energy. So when we talk about Gemini, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which we already know is associated with the throat. And Gemini rules our arms, our hands, shoulders. So again, we're back to the shoulders, our lungs, and our nervous system. So it's really important, again, if you are experiencing frozen shoulder, don't just focus, don't just draw it off to the fact that it's menopausal related. Take some time to review and reflect on what might be going on in your life at that moment of time. What conversations, because when we talk Gemini energy, we are really talking about the conversations we need to have with another person. Gemini is all about communication. Mercury is all about communication, especially when Mercury goes into a retrograde. That is a time to review where we need to have conversations. What are you holding on to? What is literally the process where you're holding the world on your shoulders? It's time to put it down. Moving on to Cancer, which is a water sign, emotionally related, where Jupiter is at this moment of time. And Cancer is ruled by the moon's energy, so it is really about self-expression, how we feel, and how we express ourselves. Cancer is associated with the chest and stomach. And as I mentioned before, Jupiter is transiting Cancer energy as we speak. Jupiter will transit Cancer energy until July 30th of 2026. So those of you who may be experiencing any issues regarding your chest, meaning heart palpitations, anxiety, strokes, or heart attack, all related to that expansion that Jupiter is installing with Cancer's energy. Remember, as I said earlier, wherever Jupiter is, it expands. It's not just expanding all the greatness, it also expands where there are challenges as well. And anytime we're holding on to emotions that need to be resolved, that puts a lot of pressure on the chest. And sometimes that chest will only be able to take so much until it explodes, theoretically speaking. And when we talk about Cancer, it's also very much related to stomach. So if you happen to have your three big signs, moon, sun, or ascending, in, let's say, Aries and Cancer, you are prone to headaches and stomach issues. So we do want to pay attention. If you have a very strong constitution in Cancer energy, you may experience bloat. Now, because Cancer is a water sign, any of our water signs, and that includes that includes Scorpio and Pisces, you may very well find that you are bloated due to your water energy. Now, it may not necessarily be related to dietary habits. It could just be because you have water in your chart. So your astrological makeup plays a big part to how your body responds to hydration, dehydration, sodium, lack of sodium, sugar, lack of sugar. So there's so much more to it than just restricting your food intake, hoping that you can release whatever it is you're looking to release when it comes to your body weight. Moving on. Leo, fire energy, associated with the sun. Now we talk about Leo, fire energy, and associated with the sun. The sun is bright. So anytime any planet is sitting in Leo energy, in your Leo placement, remember fifth house as well, that means the sun is beaming on to that placement. That means there's something there that needs to show up. Remember when we talk about Leo energy, Leo is big and expansive. It is full of drama. It is something that's going to be explosive. So we talk about Leo, again, we're talking about the heart, the spine, the upper back, and the spleen. All right. I was hoping I would feel better to do this. We're going to do the best we can. In any case, doing the best we can. So as we continue, when we talk about Leo's energy, remember wherever Leo is on your chart, when we have a planet transiting that house, that means the sun is shining on that house for you to change something, for you to shift something. Because Leo's energy is all about making a change. Leo is all about your freedom. Leo is all about your creativity. So something is being brought to your attention to shift gears. And as we move into the second half of 2026, we will have Jupiter in Leo, and we will have the South Node in Leo. So whatever, again, wherever, what house you have Leo in on your chart, that house is going to be where the sun is going to be focused on to help you expand and change something. And the areas of the bodies are the heart, the spine, upper back, and the spleen. Again, when we talk about upper back, that's associated with the shoulders. So what are you holding on to? The weight of the world sits on your shoulders. That could very well create a frozen shoulder. Frozen shoulder could also be the factor that, again, when we think about the shoulders and frozen, means that something is stuck. Now, when you think about your shoulders, think about what your shoulders are capable of doing. Where do you feel stuck in your life? Moving on to Virgo. Virgo is an earth sign associated with Mercury, just like Gemini, and it's associated with your sixth house. So when we talk Virgo, Virgo is the abdominals, which is your stomach, your digestive system, and your intestines. Now, we've recently experienced the South Node in Virgo's energy, as the North Node is in Pisces energy. And if you reflect back to all of 2025 and a good portion of 2026, many, and I'm sure you know at least one person, experience some sort of wellness crisis within the last almost 18 months. And that's due to, again, Virgo, South Node energy, amplifying our health and wellness. So we need to pay attention to our planets. I'm going to do the best I can to finish this up. Otherwise, there may be a part two to this particular topic. And I think it's probably best to say we will move forward into the Libra through Pisces energy at a different time. I'm hoping that you found today's video to be insightful. And at this point in time, you have some food for thought to whatever it is that you may be experiencing and how our planets are playing a big role in activating menopause for you. To learn more and to discover your astrological makeup, feel free to email healingwithin76@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to getting you on my schedule and taking a look at your astrological makeup and seeing where a lot of this fire is sitting on your natal chart. With the help of Neptune, Saturn, and the second half of 2026, Jupiter, and the South Node. Until we meet again, I'm Dr. Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, the founder of Wholistic Fitness NY. I look forward to connecting with you next time.